Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 Techtonic is about to begin. And right now, the doors are about to get swung open.
Are you ready? Are you ready? I am your champion. I am your champion. I am your champion. I am your machine. 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 I am your machine.
Take me away.
Ladies and gentlemen, our program is about to begin any moment now. May we ask everyone to please occupy the seats here at the stage area.
Take me away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the program Techtonic 2018 is about to begin. May we ask everybody to please occupy the seats at the stage area so you can have full front view of what's going to happen in a very short while. Ladies and gentlemen, may we ask the following to come up on stage: Mai Santico, Butch Miley, Katrina Chan, Natasha Bautista, Christopher Starr, Sebastian Hirona, Francis Simesim, Undersecretary Nora Terrado, Undersecretary Rowena Guevara, Undersecretary Mon Ibrahim, Senator Bam Aquino, and Senator Lauren Legarda. We shall begin the Techtonic 2018 Summit in a very short while. Ladies and gentlemen, on stage are our officers, our organizers, and later on our keynote speakers for today, Senator Bam Aquino and Senator Bam, and Senator Bam Aquino and Senator Lauren Legarda. Soon enough on stage, ladies and gentlemen, at the 2018 Techtonic Summit. And ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for Senator Lauren Legarda and Senator Bam Aquino. Ladies and gentlemen, this is now the ceremonial kickoff of the 2018 Techtonic Summit. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Lauren Legarda, Undersecretary Mon Ibrahim, Undersecretary Rowena Guevara, Undersecretary Nora Terrado, Francis Simisem, Mai Sandico, Butch Miley, Katrina Chan, Natasha Bautista, Christopher Starr, and Sebastian Herona. Please take this opportunity for a photo taking opportunity that's happening right now. And let's all give them a big round of applause. Welcome to the Techtonic Summit 2018, disrupting Southeast Asia. The big one is finally here, and we are at the epicenter of the innovation. Brace yourselves as the movers and shakers of the tech community converge for an explosive two-day event with 10,000 attendees, 200 startups, and 100 investors. Gain insights through awe-inspiring presentations from change makers. Watch the collision of ideas over heated debates among industry trailblazers, and witness startup founders answer burning questions of investor judges during our Ring of Fire pitching competition. And to jumpstart Techtonic Summit, let's call on stage the three-term senator who chairs the Senate Committee on Finance, Foreign Relations, and Climate Change. She has authored many pieces of legislation aimed at improving the lives of Filipinos and promoting inclusive, sustainable, and resilient development. As chair of the Committee on Finance, she ensures that the national budget is pro-people. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Senator Lauren Legarda.
Good morning to all of you. I'm happy to be here with Bam and everyone else. If I may, Butch, I'll no longer mention everyone here. You've been acknowledged earlier, and it's just, all of it is just new to me. Not exactly new, but there's so much I could learn from the founders of Kubo, both Butch and Miss Chan, and I'm glad that the DTI, so through USEC, Nora, is supporting this, and the DOST as well. Before I even start my brief message today, may I request the DTI and the DOST, this is work again, Bam, to give me what kind of support, a report, what kind of support they're giving startups and the tech industry and innovators and disruptors. So what are the programs of the OST for this growing sector of the Philippines, the region, and the world? What is DTI doing to support it? And is it private sector driven or government led? And let's be more disruptive about it and let's support it better. As your chairman of finance, I would like to see how both departments of government have shepherded startups and the innovation hub. Now, if it's private sector led, it would be instructive if we actually learn from them and help them and fund and partner with them to do more of this. So I think this is the way of the present and the future. This is how we can level up our industries and our small and medium enterprises and micro even. And so it would be good if we are on the same page and that the Finance Committee of the Senate would support this better. And so it is my distinct honor to welcome all of you here in Techtonic Summit 2018. And before I go on, I'm also a proud mother to a startup. Both Butch and Bam have mentioned before became a senator, had his own social micro enterprise, which was a startup. I think I am not incorrect in saying that my son also 5 years ago, while he went of Yale, started a startup. And Butch Maley calls my son a disruptor. So he would be the best speaker here, not me. But he's in Munich now because he's the only Philippine company represented in the Intersolar event. So I'm glad to know or glad to tell you that I am the mother of what? Bam, an innovator, a disruptor, a startup. Futuristic boy. Anyway, who interned, by the way, 5 years ago with Miss Eustachio in Idea Space. And really, Leandro would be a better speaker here than me, but I learned so much from my millennial son. So, my congratulations to, I would have said it QBO, but it's spelled Kubo. Okay, interesting. Innovation Hub. It's President Butch Maley for organizing such an important event. Butch is a good friend of more than 20, 30 years ago. We have two shared advocacies. One is resilience, which includes disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation and mitigation, which is an area that needs innovation. And I hope we could have a dedicated Kubo event for DRR. I think that would be good. And of course, the others would be micro enterprises as well. And I was talking to Ms. Chan about it on how our MSMEs and our indigenous arts and crafts can level up and be converted into an online platform. So it gives me pleasure that we continue organizing events for our startup businesses and entrepreneurs, such as this one. Recently, we had the National Arts and Crafts Fair, which was a joint project of the Department of Trade and Industry and the National Commission on Culture and Arts and my office. And many of these are actually products of MSMEs in the rural areas of indigenous peoples. It would be so challenging for us to find out how we can innovate and make these creative industries available in the online platform so that our indigenous peoples can really make their products, which are so beautifully, creatively done, not just to the Filipinos, but to the world. I'd also like to mention that way back 2008, 10 years ago, I authored the Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises Law, which I hope benefits many micro enterprises in our country, which is 99%, or which is the backbone of the Philippine economy. At the time when we authored the MSME law, I wanted to break the notion that Filipino products are second only to their imported counterparts. I would like for our society to acknowledge that the value of our products and services go beyond its novelty, to attest that Filipino skills and talents are at par with, if not even better, than international level of standard and quality. This advocacy has been a priority because MSMEs comprise the majority of our business enterprises and employ the most in our workforce. The role of MSMEs is crucial in generating jobs and bolstering economic growth for our country. According to the DTI, but these are records of 2016, MSMEs accounted for 99.57% of the total business enterprises operating in the Philippines, creating a total of 4.8 million jobs, or 63.3% of the total jobs generated by all types of business establishments. Now, of these 4.8 million jobs and the 99.5 MSMEs in the country, I hope that most, if not all of them, could be thrust into becoming not just disruptors, but supported and really go into technology so that they could level up as well. I continue to recognize this immense potential of our MSMEs in empowering the lives of Filipino workers and in transforming our nation towards a resilient, productive, and sustainable Philippines. As your chair of the Committee on Finance, I've ensured funding support to expand and enhance the capabilities and competence of our MSMEs by allocating 1 billion pesos each for the Pondo para sa Pagbabago for the shared services programs under the budget of the DTI. We've also continued to fund the law of Senator Bam Aquino, which is the Go Negosyo centers all over the country. So with the MSME law, with the continued quadrupling funding of the shared services facilities in our continued support and funding for the Go Negosyo, and with more prospective increased funding for tech support for startups and MSMEs, I think the DTI and the OST have a good roadmap in the future. So aside from the DTI, I'd like to let you know of other government agencies which have programs that benefit MSMEs. Do you know that under the Department of Labor, there's a Pangkabuhayan program? I think the Kubo can also look into the Pangkabuhayan program of the DOLE. And this really touches the poorest of the poor. The DSWD has the Sustainable Livelihood Program. It would be good how we can automate, innovate, make it techy, all these rural-based programs of DOLE and DSWD, SLP, I think can glean and can learn from the tech component of Kubo. TESDA has its Barangay Kabuhayan Skills Training Program. Under my law 10 years ago, we have the Barangay Kabuhayan Act, which actually provides Barangay Kabuhayan training centers in the 4th, 5th, and 6th class municipalities all over the country. TESDA also has the Skills Training Employment Program, or the STEP, which we continue to fund. The Department of Agrarian Reform, believe it or not, also has support facilities for this. The DENR has the greening program, but under the greening program, it also has micro rural-based enterprises, which helps in micro enterprises for those rural communities. The DOST, which is present here today, has a set up and the startup program and the community empowerment through science and technology, or the CEST. These are all good concepts, which I hope Kubo can look into. Why am I stating each one by one? Because you as taxpayers may not know that these government programs exist. And these programs were founded or created decades ago, long before the millennial generation or long before this tech summit was even conceptualized. And they could be leveled up if Kubo and tech summits could actually help improve these programs of government. We have other agencies that do it, but I can see a 1 minute or no, a time's up card here, and I would like to abide by that. I actually only have 1/3 of my speech read, but because I would like to follow the 1 minute left, I will just email the rest of my speech to Kubo, okay? And then I don't want to take time of Bam Aquino. So what is my message today? We in government would like to support disruptors, would like to support the creative industry, would like to support technology, would like to support innovators. We would like to partner with the private sector and the millennial generation that really brings us the important roadmap so that those in the provinces, those in the rural areas, our farmers and our fisher folks, the rural women and the young unempowered population can actually benefit from technology. And it is through summits such as this Techtonic Summit, which sounds very techy, but actually can be applied to a DOST CEST or a DOLE Pangkabuhayan or even a DISWD SLP. And so the byproduct of this event today, hopefully, can be a collaboration through BAM and through myself with Kubo, with all the innovators in this tech summit to help government programs become more accessible, become more efficient, become from innovative, become more creative. And when you are such, you touch more lives and transform more people. Thank you very much and good morning to all of you.
Thank you very much, Senator Lauren Ligarda. And may I now call on stage Mr. Butch Maley, the president of Kubo Innovation Hub and Idea Space Foundation Incorporated, to present to Senator Lauren Ligarda our token of appreciation and a photo opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much, Senator Lauren Ligarda and Mr. Butch Maley. Ladies and gentlemen, a former world-renowned social entrepreneur and a science fiction fan is up next. He works to empower every Filipino family through education, entrepreneurship, and employment. His first law, the Go Negosyo Act, has already given rise to over 800 negosyo centers around the country to help Filipinos combat poverty by building successful businesses. He is also the principal sponsor and co-author of one of the most revolutionary reforms, the Free College Law, which makes tuition and miscellaneous fees free in state and local universities and colleges, and that is his 19th law. He has since passed 22 laws in almost 5 years, including the Free Internet Access in Public Spaces Act, giving Filipinos access to free internet in all public areas. As the current chairman for the Senate Committee on Science and Technology, he has now set his eyes on supporting our scientists, researchers, and innovators, and he seeks to harness the power of technology and innovation to build a wiser, more prosperous nation. His Balik Scientist Act was just passed into law this year, his 22nd law. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the hardworking, productive Senator Bam Aquino.
Thank you, sir, for that brief introduction. Salamat po. That's practically my whole speech, no? So, congratulations to everyone. Thank you. Just kidding. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let me greet, of course, my colleague in the Senate, Senator Lauren Ligarda. Magandang umaga, ma'am. Senator Lauren and I share a number of advocacies, one of which is supporting the startup community. Let me greet also Sir Butch Maley, of course, our chief organizer for today. I'd also like to greet our three very hardworking undersecretaries. Among the three of them, the intersection of their work is the startup community. So let me greet Undersecretary Rowena Guevara, Undersecretary Nora Terrado, and Undersecretary Mon Ibrahim. Magandang umaga po. To all of our friends in the private sector, good morning. Thank you very much for having me back again this year. And this time, of course, sharing the stage with our esteemed colleague, the Committee on Finance Chairperson, Senator Lauren Ligarda. For those of you who I met here last year, I'm not sure if you remember, but I spoke about the 3 reasons why we love our innovators, our entrepreneurs, and our scientists. And just to recap, the first reason, we love our innovators because of their respect for data, for research, for insights. The second reason is because we love your passion for problem solving. And third, we love our innovators because even when times are tough, you give us hope. So these 3 reasons, of course, keep us fighting for the startup community. And today, I'd like to share with you our labor of love, the different policies, laws, and programs that we've pushed to create that startup ecosystem for all of you so we can all succeed. The theme for this year is disruption. And truly, it's our startups, our technologists that create that disruptive innovation, that create new solutions, new markets, new value chains, and brand new opportunities for everyone, especially those in the fringes of our society at the so-called bottom of the pyramid. Hopefully, these reforms can help you disrupt the Philippines, Southeast Asia, and maybe even the world. The first law we talked about, Senator Lauren also mentioned this, and the first law that I passed in 2014 was the Go Negosyo Act. 2014 seems like a lifetime ago, to be honest, but in the 4 years that this act has been a law, we've had numerous progress. Firstly, the Go Negosyo Act, which just started 4 years ago, now has 873 negosyo centers across the Philippines. These are support hubs that can help anyone who wishes to start or grow their business. Over 1 million Filipino entrepreneurs have been supported by these negosyo centers, and this remains a priority program of the Department of Trade and Industry. The second law I wish to share with you took a lot of time and effort, and this is the Philippine Competition Act, one of the most challenging laws that I've passed. It's actually the first antitrust law in the Philippines, and hopefully it will make it easier for startups and companies like yourselves to compete in a very competitive market. Third, to develop a stronger foundation for innovation and entrepreneurship, we passed the Youth Entrepreneurship and Financial Literacy Act, which incorporates financial literacy into our basic education. Hopefully, with this act, and supposedly it's going to be implemented for the first time this year, this will develop entrepreneurial skills and financial literacy with our youth, starting at the K-12 level and even beyond. The next law I'd like to share with you was recently, is my latest law, and this was actually just signed into law yesterday by the President, and this is the Balik Scientist Act. Just yesterday, the President signed my 22nd law, the Balik Scientist Act, which provides incentives and benefits for Filipino scientists abroad and who wish to come home and contribute to building a better Philippines. We hope that more of our world-class Filipino scientists, engineers, and innovators can come home, share what they've learned across the world, and build that foundation of technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship here in our country. Build that culture of innovation and disruption in our startup community. The next 2 reforms I'd like to share with you are not yet laws, and we need your support for these next 2 initiatives. The first is something that DOST is very adamant about, and we've worked with them on this bill. In fact, we've worked with all of you on this bill because in the process of creating the Innovative Startup Act, we opened up the crafting of this bill to startups across the Philippines. The Innovative Startup Act, of course, supports our entrepreneurs, our startups, by getting benefits like tax breaks, easier registration, technical assistance and training programs, even special visas for foreign partners. An innovative startup fund which should jumpstart our startups from their infancy stage to a more stable one. We talked to the Israeli ambassador about the Innovative Startup Fund bill. And of course, we all know Israel has a very vibrant startup scene. And he told me one thing. He said, Senator, for your Innovative Startup Fund, it can't just be a venture fund. It has to be an adventure fund because funding startups is an adventure. And one thing we need to change with the Innovative Startup Fund is that at the end of the day, as we fund startups, we create employment, but we're also betting on the future of the Philippines. Not all of them will be good bets. In fact, for Israel, he mentioned that their startup community, only maybe 1 to 2 out of 10 will really be able to make it to the market. But those 1 or 2 that makes it to the market create such a huge impact in their country and in their society that it's worth it. So this is the type of mentality we want to foster with the Innovative Startup Fund, with the Innovative Startup Act, to really create that supporting ecosystem for our startups like yourselves. The good news here is that this already passed the Senate. So tapos na po yung homework namin ni Senator Legarda. It still is in Congress. So hinahanap lang po namin dito ang version ng Congress which we hope they can pass by this August. And hopefully by the end of the year, we can present to you the Innovative Startup Act, which should jumpstart a lot of your businesses as well. And we hope we can come together for this act. We also feel that there's enough time for most of you here. If you have comments, a lot of you have already given us your comments on this act. We've been hosting roundtables about this law for the past year. There's still time because after Congress passes their version, may BICAM pa yan, and in the BICAM, we can still include a number of your concerns for the Innovative Startup Act. The last thing I'd like to talk about today is another policy that's currently in the period of interpolation in the Senate, and this is the Open Access to Data Transmission Act. And this tries to solve one of our perennial problems in the country, which is the speed and cost of internet in the Philippines. Like the competition law, this reform pushes more players and healthier competition into different levels of the telecom communications arena. The face of internet services in the Philippines are those that sell directly to consumers and end users. But for many of you here, you know that there are multiple layers in this industry. There's the core or backbone network, the international gateway, the middle mile, and the last mile. The Open Access to Data Transmission Law, if passed, should be able to disaggregate these different layers in the internet supply chain and hopefully open things up by lessening all the regulations, even congressional franchises. So this is quite a big reform for our country if we're able to get this passed. And we're hoping to get your support in pushing for this law that won't only bring one more telco to the Philippines, but can bring multiple players in different parts of the value chain in our internet industry. And hopefully, if we get this passed, our problems will of course cease and we can find better speed, lower cost of internet in our country. These two big reforms are two more in a slew of reforms that we've already passed. Papansin po ninyo, and if you'll allow me this beautiful mind moment, if we look at the different laws that we've put together, starting of course with our youth, with the Youth Entrepreneurship Act, your support system through the Go Negosyo Act, your macro reforms, which include the Philippine Competition Act, industry-specific reforms, which include the Open Access and Data Transmission Act. If you look at all of these different reforms and all of these different laws, they form a puzzle. No? And I'd like to call this a puzzle of prosperity. They are all pieces of a puzzle when we put them together, creates an ecosystem of reform for our startups and for our MSMEs. Ito po yung sinisikap namin for the past 4 years. Even our advocacies in education, making our SUCs free for our students. When you look at our Microfinance NGO Act, and hopefully very soon our Personal Property Securities Act, all of this unlocks all of those aspects of our society which have been held in place by a few. Kapag binubukas po natin ang mga aspetong ito, we make it more accessible, we make it cheaper, we allow for more players to come in, the ecosystem for startups grows, the ecosystem for our startups become more responsive to the needs of companies like yourselves. So hopefully, if we can get a lot of these passed within the next 2 or 3 years, we can see an ecosystem of support created for companies like yourselves. Some of it will be macro in nature, like the Philippine Competition Act. Some will be very micro, like the Go Negosyo Act, which supports our entrepreneurs with money, market, and mentorship. Some will be industry-specific, like the Open Access and Data Transmission Act, and some may even be tangential in nature, like the Youth Entrepreneurship Act. But if we can all come together, work together, put the pieces of the puzzle together, learning from other countries, from their experiences, and learning from where we are also right now as a country, we can put all these things together and create that ecosystem of hope. So let me end by thanking everyone, especially the organizers. Sir Butch, salamat po sa imbitasyon ninyo. And let me just say that I hope that all of us here will continue to think up of new solutions to our age-old problems and give us hope for a brighter, more prosperous future for everybody, especially those who are least in our society, especially those who are in the fringes of our society. Kapag tayo po, natuloy po natin yung disruption, yung innovation, yung pagtulak po natin for more jobs in our country, I'm sure it won't only be your organizations that will benefit, it will be those in our country who need it the most, who will benefit as well. Maraming salamat. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Bam Aquino, for gracing the Techtonic Summit for the second time around. So please, on stage, Mr. Rene Butch-Maley, President of Kubo Innovation Hub and Idea Space Foundation, Inc., to present the good senator our token of appreciation and a photo opportunity. Let's give him a big round of applause, everybody. This is not a drill, so get ready for our first panel discussion with the pioneers of disruption in the country. So let's talk about the state of the Philippines startup ecosystem and the available resources for early stage startups. To start the discussion, please welcome on stage our moderator, the managing partner for Gobi Southeast Asia. He joined Gobi in 2010 and has invested in over 30 companies, including Aptoid, Dclout, Eco, Hermo, Offpeak, Orami, and Crave. He is a board member of the Singapore Venture Capital Association. Started his career with the Infocom Development Authority and has a computer science degree from the University of California, Berkeley, and an MBA at the San Jose University, Mr. K. Mok Koo. Joining him on stage is the Undersecretary Monchito Ibrahim. He's the Undersecretary for the ICT Industry and Countryside Development and Management Services of the Department of Information Communications Technology, a trustee and president of the University of the Philippines System Information Technology Foundation, as well as a member of the technical panel for Information Technology of the Commission on Higher Education since 2006. Also on stage will be Undersecretary Nora Terrado. She took on the TIPG portfolio of the DTI in January 2016. As TIPG Undersecretary, she oversees the Foreign Trade Service Corps, Export Marketing Bureau, Bureau of Domestic Trade Promotions, Center for International Trade Expositions and Missions, Philippine Trade Training Center, and Design Center of the Philippines. As Governor of the Board of Investments, she provides strategic direction on investment promotions and assistance. Also on stage, please, let's welcome Undersecretary Rowena Guevara. The Undersecretary for Research and Development at the Department of Science and Technology. She is now on special detail from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, where she is Professor 12 at the Electrical and Electronics Engineering Institute, specializing in speech and audio signal processing, time frequency analysis and synthesis, and artificial intelligence. We'd also like to introduce Diane Eustaquio. She's the Executive Director of Idea Space Foundation, a nonprofit pre-accelerator based in the Philippines. She has had a hand in each of the 68 startups that have entered the Idea Space program. She is also the Philippines' first holder of a Business Incubation Management Certificate from the International Business Innovation Association, the biggest global advocate for incubators, accelerators, educational institutions, and regional economic development stakeholders. And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, please now welcome Mr. Jojo Flores, the co-founder at Plug and Play Tech Center, a Silicon Valley-based technology startup accelerator. And he started this in January 2006 in the Philippines. Jojo is co-founder at Launch Garage, which started operations in March of 2016. Patterned after Plug and Play, Launch Garage is an incubator, co-working space, accelerator, and investor for tech startups in the Philippines and the ASEAN region. Ladies and gentlemen, your speakers, the panel on stage right now. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Thank you. Good morning. So thanks for the introduction. I think just a quick overview of Gobi. We actually manage 9 funds across Asia, China, Hong Kong, Southeast Asia. So we have about $1 billion under management. Invested across close to 200 companies, about 1/4 in Southeast Asia. But I do have a confession. I think in Philippines, I'm actually a tourist VC. So being a Singaporean, one of our weaknesses is actually traffic. So whenever I come to Manila, I go to Makati, have my meetings, and I retreat back to the airport. So as a kind of, I'm just wondering, as a local VC, if let's say I'm actually stationed in a fire station, are there enough deal flow so that whenever I slide down the pole, is it just a fire drill, or are there enough drills for me that are there enough deals for me that I actually slide down the pole to actually start to invest in Philippines? So I think this is a good way to kick off. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about the deal flow situation in Philippines?
Not enough. Not enough startups. So please, all of you explorers in the audience, I'd like to see your applications in the idea space competition next year, because we really need more startups. We need more people to explore and build solutions for so many problems that are existing all throughout the country.
I just want to second what Diane had mentioned. There's not enough deals happening in the Philippines. I think we don't have an exact number of the number of startups in the country currently, but I personally feel that there's about 700, 800 active ones at any given time in the Philippines, and that's not enough. I think for a country that has a population of 100 million, and majority of them very young, I think we should be at a level of 3 to 4 times more than that level. So um, yes, the Philippines and the culture is very afraid of risk, not just on the startup side but also in the investment side. But I think that should not be a reason why the number of deals and startups in the country is at that low level.
Uh, but before was this giving my answer to your question, uh, good morning, everyone. There are 2 things I'd like to start with. Okay, first of all, I like to actually tell Jojo, one of the panelists, I like the color of his socks. Okay, light blue. And ladies and gentlemen, today is the birthday of Undersecretary Noya Terrado. Okay. Can we give Undersecretary Noya a big round of applause? Lunch is going to be on her. Anyway, yes, we don't have that many serious startups, okay? But Diane, Jojo, a lot of young people are trying to get their hands dirty on actually starting one. And this is really something that's we definitely see as very positive. Even remote places like Siquijor Island in Visayas, okay, we're seeing the couple of schools there already amongst themselves competing with one another. We're seeing was this Davao City as becoming to be a hub for young kids trying to actually start something. So although right now we don't have that many serious startups, okay, I really believe that in 3 years' time, we'll probably have on a per capita basis, okay, relative to our neighbors within ASEAN, we'll have many startups.
Please.
I would like to make it relative. If you look at the Philippines 5 years ago, the number of startups, I could count it 2 hands. But now we have over 500 startups. To me, 5 years, you go from 10 to 500 plus. I think that's an accomplishment. I would like to give a hand to our startups today. But I'm more concerned about startups that actually stay on. We find that some Filipino startups
they get disappointed if they do not they do not exit and be bought by a big company or make their first millions or something. When I went to Switzerland, I was surprised when the president of the two universities mentioned that their success rate for their startups is 95%. I asked, what is your metric for a startup? Very simple. If the startup founders and the employees are gainfully employed, then it is a startup that survived. In the Philippines, we need to look maybe at the Switzerland model rather than the US or the Singapore model. Just being able to chug on and survive and be gainfully employed, I think that should be our metric for a successful startup.
Interesting perspective. I guess so. I'll start to drill down on some of the issues that you have mentioned. I think the lack of deal flow. So even for Singapore, a population of 5 million, if you rewind the clock 10 years ago, they have problems in terms of deal flow. But part of it is actually to accelerate the deal flow. The government actually step in. So VC, unfortunately, is a business of home runs. So if you don't have the home runs, it's very difficult to have the winners to cover the losers. So nobody actually will start a VC fund. So the Singapore government actually came in and underwrite the losses until once the winners start to appear, private capital actually rush into the market. So I'm just wondering, in Philippines, is this something that's possible? Well, actually, I heard a lot about the regulations, and I think those are good regulations. But in terms of the VC funding ecosystem, is that something that the government will actually look into as well?
As the good Senator Bam Aquino mentioned, we're waiting for the Innovation Startup Bill, but we have been waiting for more than 2 years now. So for the Department of Science and Technology, we decided to put up a new program called Startup Nation, where we actually do some sort of VC funding for startups. Right now, we have 19 startups funded under that program. Our grants are small. We go only up to about 5 million pesos per grantee. And we are expanding that program. And once the bill that the good senator mentioned comes in, we would be able to do more. Because in that bill, there is mention of funding huge amounts in the billions for startups. Because in the Philippines, the financial institutions, the ones in private, are very risk averse. And so we take it upon ourselves in government to take up the slack. Aside from that, we also have technology business incubators all over the country. Currently, we have 14 for industry, and we have 6 for agriculture. So that's 20. And we have another 32 in the pipeline. So by next year, we will have 52 technology business incubators located mostly in the universities. Our only non-university-based startup or technology business incubator is Kubo.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to my party. I'm just joking. But and Techtonic, it gives me a lot of pleasure to be here. This is my comfort zone. I was once a startup myself and was able to exit. So I also celebrate my 5th year anniversary this month. This month, that I'm going to be 5 years. But having said that, I'd like to say that I consider myself as a member of the startup ecosystem. We are builders, majority of us. And we've done a lot of progress. The Philippines, Manila, I would say Manila is now a member of the Global Entrepreneurial Network, GEN, and we participated in the genome survey, and Manila is already part of it. So while all these things are happening, we should be grateful that we have exceeded the target, the digital target of 500. We want to now say that we have to level it up, right, Mon? We've been working on this for years, that we have to make it like 1,000. That's 10% of what India is saying. So in the process of this ecosystem building, there's the ideation, the negative zero phase, and then the startup. And so the DTI, being market facing, is going to work in this phase of the game as in the ecosystem development in the scale up. So you have startup ecosystem builder, and we have the scale up ecosystem builder, and we have other departments that are so focused at countryside development and connectivity, and that is the ICT. In fact, the three of us are really have been partners working on this, and we work like not like bureaucrats. We really work like startups. So what the other thing I'd like to mention is that there is a movement, according to the survey, to the study that was commissioned to this genome company, that the Philippines has a big opportunity in fintech if we consider that only 30% are bankable. That's one. The second thing that coming strong as a in the Philippines is in the AI area. And then in the Philippines, there is already a move from being tech-centric to something like verticalization. Verticalization. So it's not just, and we continue to advocate that it's not just digital that we are working on as ecosystem builder, but also advanced materials, because we sorely like raw materials in our manufacturing center, environment and power, and also in the area of like where we are already, agri-tech. Agri-tech is one area. And one last point, according to this study that we have, that was a result of looking at Manila, the following are the top growth areas for startups. No? Advanced manufacturing and robotics, increasing 189% in the next 5 years. Second is agri-tech and new food, increasing by 171%. Number 3 is blockchain, increasing 163%, and artificial intelligence, big data, and analytics, 78%. Where is the global market declining? In ad tech. Increasing by 35%, but not really 3 times growth. Gaming is increasing only 27%. Digital is 27%. So if we can have that entrepreneurial mindset and global connectedness, then I think that we will be much smarter as Philippines in this, because we're already recognized as part of that global network, which to me is a great accomplishment for the Philippines.
Thank you for that wonderful birthday speech. I really understand. So the core, I think, areas of differentiation in terms of these vertical areas of investment. So the next question I would have is, so obviously we are more a regional fund. And if you look at the Southeast Asian ecosystem, one of the game changers is actually the Chinese tech companies. If you look at Indonesia, if it's not because of Alibaba and Tencent, and even SoftBank, you actually will not see, the increasing interest. So for Philippines, I'm just curious. So obviously you explained the building, the scaling up. So in terms of the, I would say the integration or the interaction with regional or global investors, are there efforts being put into those areas?
So in terms of scale up, this is where access to market and access to finance is. But before we do that, in the Philippines, this is what our sense is in our conversations internally at DTI. And you can correct me if I'm wrong or add something to it. In the Philippines, we really have to improve on the entrepreneurial mindset. Be a little bit bolder and brave in leapfrogging. And this is the reason why we want slingshot approach, right? We leapfrog. The other thing is connectedness. Connectedness to the right dots. I really appreciate the work that DOST has done for drawing the canvas, because they drew the canvas. And in that canvas of the Philippines, the startup ecosystem canvas, we need to connect the dots. So that is important in scale up. The other thing is the work that DICT is working on the infrastructure side and the countryside development and the last mile. That is important to scale up. So we have that one being addressed. So now we have to address international connectedness. We do need to help them be poised for that, and we have to bring them abroad. And that's why DTI is bringing them in Taiwan, in China, in Germany, in Korea. But we cannot bring everybody. We have to bring those who are ready, willing, able, and has a distinctive value proposition. And recently in Taiwan, in Innovex, I have to congratulate One Watt. They won 70,000 US dollars just for being a finalist. So these opportunities are important, access to market. Now, access to capital, I think we can work on that because there are a lot of venture capitalists, but we have to learn how to pitch. And the other thing is startups should focus a balanced approach in creating internally generated funds, because the most difficult part to address is sustainability of revenue. And I can tell you that the success of my previous company when we got a good value was revenue generation. And the longer is the sustainable, generous revenue stream, the more value you get and the more internally generated funds you get. So we need to work on that and not look at just the venture or the financing or investments. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything to add?
I think on the question of scalability, on scaling, I think the one thing that really moves the needle that needs to happen here in the Philippines, and I think we're a little bit behind in this matter, is in terms of private conglomerates being involved in startups. I think there's still a big stigma with a lot of our big corporations to get involved with startups. No? And I mean, I'm sure that it's justified, but we're seeing it already globally, where the likes of Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, or Toyota, Mitsubishi, Renault, on the mobility vertical, getting involved with not just with startups, embracing open innovation, and I think that really accelerates the growth of a startup, not just in their own country, but globally. And I think that needs to start happening here in the Philippines. You have groups like First Pacific, for instance, already starting that road. The Ayala Corporation, the Ayala Group of companies. But you know, we have we still have a lot of opportunities with other large corporations really to unlock their doors and be open to pilot projects, investment, and the like. No, but if there's one thing that needs to happen here in the Philippines, it's really that, I believe.
Yeah. So the importance, Senator Bam and Senator Legarda underline the importance of really adventure capital at the beginning. So Idea Space has been here for 6 years, and we are funded by a large conglomerate here. The companies of First Pacific in the Philippines are PLDT, Meralco, Manila, Metro Pacific, the Metro Pacific Tollways, the hospitals, and so many, 21 companies actually have put their money into the Idea Space Fund. So this is adventure capital. And we're really encouraging more companies to put up more adventure capital because as the USEX, the undersecretaries were saying, we need to invest in early stage for people to try and go in and have build courage, as USEC Gev said. And even if they fail, to believe that these failures can contribute and go on to their second and third startup, then maybe VCs like you would be not tourist VCs in the country, but you'd probably stay a night or two or maybe a week to really close a deal in the country.
One of the assistance that we give to our startups is PCT application. This is applying for intellectual property protection in other countries. So for example, one of the companies that we've helped, Axis, which is a total knee replacement system, initially we invested $1 million in them, and they have also another $1 million that they were able to raise. And then lately they said we need to sell in China and the US and so on. So we help them also with the PCT or the IP application. But more than that, we also host several pitching events wherein we have both the locals and the international venture capitalists to come in so that our researchers or startups and spin-offs can actually pitch their companies. And in fact, in one of the pitching events, we were so happy because there was one banana plantation owner who said, well, you can plant in my 40 hectares for free. So that's worth 10 to 20 million right away. So we just need for our startups to be present in these events.
Thank you. I think so. Maybe I heard a lot from the government officials. I'm just curious about the situation on the ground. What I hear is actually I think there's a lot of good initiatives to help startups. But in terms of the changing of mindset, in terms of the younger people, so the problem that we have in countries like Singapore is actually when you're young people graduating from college, there's a lot of strong employment opportunities. I'm sure in Philippines it's the same. You have an English-speaking population. There's a lot of outsourcing company here. There's a lot of jobs offered by multinational. So how do you balance, that, desire to, hey, get a good salary versus take a risk to do a startup? What are you seeing on the ground?
We in the Philippines, we've actually been programmed by our parents to, finish, get a degree, and work for people like P&G, Unilever, okay, IBM. This is where actually the Department of ICT is very, very focused on. Okay, democratizing the idea of startups. Okay, making it something that's well, pardon for the use of the word, making it sexier to the young kids, especially in the countryside. I think we're getting there. That's where most of our resources are being actually used at. Awareness, okay, and based on the because we're running an annual startup competition for university level students, okay, based on the number of entries we've actually been getting the last 3 years, we can see that the interest is actually getting there. So we hope that at some point half of the kids would actually get the idea that whether I get a degree or not, okay, if I have a good idea and it's going to solve something, I'll probably start a business out of it.
You have to start them young. At the Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, Emerging Technology, R&D, or PSHIRD, they have a program called Young Innovators Program. So we have a competition. If you win, we will invest something. And we were so surprised. The winners were in high school, not in college. So one was, she has a program called Girls Can Code. The other one, he has an exoskeleton robotics. These are high school students. So I think that if we nurture them that early in high school, even when they go to college, I think they would still start up some companies.
And I think we've come to an inflection point. No, it's not easy to change mindset, and like parents like me, no. But this is where advocacy comes in. There are a lot of good stories out there that we should share. I think that we also need to inspire. So that's the soft side of making a change. The social angle of change is so important that, you know, something like this, a platform such as this, is an important measure. The other thing that I'd like to just highlight before I forget, the Philippines is a great spot to test the market because we have a robust economic opportunities here, largely consumption based, and there's a lot of problems. We have an we have a responsibility as mature people to continue to advocate for people, for the citizens to solve problems. And the recent law on the ease of doing business, hopefully, will be a catalyst to make it easier for the industrial solutions to get there. So I would advocate that an opportunity for startups would be GovTech by solving solutions that we have in the country. Thank you.
I just super agree. The government is actually one of the, if government buys these technologies and these innovations, that they would be paving the way in the global competitive index. If you look at the components of why the Philippines is behind many ASEAN countries, is the amount of money spent by private sector on R&D, and also the amount spent by government in purchasing these innovations. We pale behind Vietnam, Indonesia, even behind Cambodia, I think. So if we can build solutions for government, yes, it's really difficult to sell to government, but there have been successes and startups have sold to government. So those will be the models. And little by little, government will be more adventurous as well to purchase these innovations and to provide better services to the people.
Okay, you know, this mindset challenge that we have, I think, can be drastically changed if we have a real live model to follow. You know, so what we're still lacking in the Philippines is that poster child. Okay, so I have an idea. You know, we have, and I'd like all of you to be involved here. We have the three important branches of government here represented. Let's have a meeting with Kubo maybe, okay? Idea Space, you know, Kickstart and, you know, Launch Garage. Let's let's choose 5 startups that we have currently in the Philippines that we will really help. Okay, from government.
Go.
Huh? You like that, no? Okay. And our goal is to turn this startup into our first unicorn. Huh? So with I don't know how we're going to identify it, whether a pitching or a private whatever, or we'll ask Manny Pangilinan to say, okay, we'll put in money in these companies, whatever it takes, but let's choose 5, maybe 10 startups that we will in the next 12 months, because it has to be short, we fail fast also if it's going to fail. In the next 6 to 12 months, that we will really help to turn into the first global unicorn for the Philippines.
I'd like to just weigh in on that. In my elevator speech with Senator Ligarda, we have this startup ecosystem development program, and we've done with our phase one. Now we have to embark on phase two. She told me that if we could come up with a program, enhance the SEDP, the Startup Ecosystem Development Program, she will help fund it.
There you go.
And I told her the vision being by year 2020, we should have 20 startups that are in the pipeline, of which 50%, that's 10, is already, series B and unicorn perhaps.
Yes.
I don't know how to be more ambitious, but if this community will be more ambitious with us, then we can support it. So it's a PPP. So if this group, if this community is willing to do it, like we have 20 by 2020, and we can design how it is, then we can work together. After all, diba, it's already in the PDP, Philippine Development Plan, and the three of us here, we're actually the champions in our respective areas in the area of startup. Help us.
No, we will. I think after this we'll gather and let's do it. No? And we'll have Gobi invest.
Thank you very much. I think
one more. And also, because of the ease of doing business, we are going to have a design sprint to build a design for the ease of doing business, to ease the registration process, how to start a business. We are inviting volunteers to join us. So I will just publish to you the invitation. So thank you.
Okay. So
Thank you.
if you guys like that, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
I think to sum out from this panel, I think the big one is really coming. I can see all the fault lines. We have a very strong government support policies, corporate involvement. We have a very young population. What we need is to identify the unicorn who will actually co-invest with you in the next big earthquake. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, to all of our speakers right now, let's give them a big round of applause. And may we ask Mr. Butch Miley to present tokens of appreciation and a quick photo op on stage. And let's also extend a warm happy birthday greeting to Undersecretary Nora Terrado. Happy birthday, and we wish you many more from now until forevermore.
My wish is 20 by 2020.
Thank you once again to all of our speakers, and ladies and gentlemen, we'd like you to welcome on stage your host, Mr. Ethan Lott.
Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I will be your host today. My name is Ethan Lod. Good morning. Good morning. It's a great morning. Everybody clap your hands. It's a great morning. We're at the Techtonic Summit 2018, and I'm really excited here to pretend like I'm your president in this lectern. I think I was supposed to be given a wireless mic, pero mas cool to. Don't you guys agree? All right. So, for today, I would like to announce the 20 startups who will be competing in the Ring of Fire competition. Now, what is the Ring of Fire competition? It's essentially a competition where the startups will be pitching to judges and potential investors. And by the end of the day, they will get a chance to win funding worth USD $10,000 or 500,000 pesos. Okay? But what's very important is also they will be pitching to potential investors in a VIP room somewhere there in the cloud. And after that, tomorrow, we will have the official finals where only 10 startups will be included. Okay ba? Okay ba? It's pretty darn cool, guys. Okay, so before we begin, we will be announcing several startups here. And I really want you guys to give the support to these startups and also to the panel of judges. So can we first practice a little art I like to call clapping, okay? So this is what we're gonna do. First, can we clap for those people who have spent days and weeks and months preparing for this event? Let's clap for the coordinators of Techtonic 2018. Can we also clap for all the businesses here today, all the startups, small businesses? Can you give them a round of applause? And while you're practicing, you can also clap for me now. Clap for me. Yes. Okay. That's good. That's good. We'll practice. We'll practice. I'm going to call on the startups. Are the startups ready? Over here. All right. The representatives on my left and my right. I'm going to call them on. And then please come up because we will have a photo op before the competition. So, we have scored across Southeast Asia and have meticulously scrutinized hundreds of applications to pick the best among them. Today, we shall all meet the top 20 startups who braved to compete and were able to handle the heat. Without further ado, let's call them in alphabetical order. Please go on stage. AdMov, smart platform that uses location data and facial recognition. Let's clap for them, guys. Aid, one-stop home medical care app that brings care to you. Antipara Exploration, underwater 3D visual mapping and assessment service. We got Blimo, online booking platform to look, plan, book, and share awesome activities and experiences. We have Brancas, bank transfer payments without the middleman. Cognicep provides human-in-the-loop error handling systems that leverage telepresence technology. Educacion PH, online platform connecting millions of students to higher education opportunities. We have Empleo, application system with recruitment analytics. Exora Technologies, online platform which makes electricity affordable by transforming how we buy electricity. Learn Talk Limited, on-demand live video call English tutorial platform on web and mobile. Let's Meet Incorporated, online legal consultation platform and marketplace for legal services and products. We have LifeMesh, transparent supply tracking platform for in-kind donation. Mama Helpers Technologies, world's largest OFW that oversees Filipino workers network. We have 1 Watt, preventing unplanned downtime in the facilities by using acoustics and AI. We have Payo, cash on delivery gateway for e-commerce platforms. We have Pushcard.ph, online supermarket that delivers same day in the Philippines. We have Ruma Racket Limited Incorporated, increasing revenue through machine learning automation for talent management functions. We have Senti Tech Labs Incorporated, culture-aware text analytics platform empowered by AI. We have Storm Learning Incorporated, platform that provides tools to understand and maximize enterprise learning. And we have Taxumo, helping small and medium businesses and freelancers file their taxes easier. A round of applause for all the startups here today. Hello, how are you guys? Are you guys nervous? You guys should all be nervous, okay? And happy and excited, right? Okay, so they are all winners today because they have already received a premium location space to exhibit their startup right here, an exclusive pass to business matching later on, and an invite-only investors dinner, and of course a chance to win 10,000 US dollars or half a million pesos. I'm sure you guys will do really well on stage, and even if I'm telling you guys that you're all ready, all winners, I know based on your entrepreneurial mindset that you will go for it today. All right, good luck to all of you. Let's give them a warm round of applause again. Okay, you may now exit the stage as we call your preliminary round judges. I think we got good photo ops anyway. Yung mga nanay nyo dyan got the good photo ops now. All right. So I want to call onto the stage again now the panel of judges. And we're going to give them a warm round of applause. Medyo mahaba to, so we'll stay here for, siguro we'll extend another hour. But please give them a warm round of applause. I'd like to call on the stage Mr. Jojo Flores, co-founder of Launch Garage. So Jojo is co-founder at Plug and Play Tech Center, a Silicon Valley-based technology startup accelerator, which he started in January 2006. In the Philippines, Jojo is co-founder of Launch Garage, which started operations in March 2016. Patterned after Plug and Play, Launch Garage is an incubator, co-working space, accelerator, and investor for tech startups in the Philippines and the ASEAN region. Okay, so is Mr. Jojo Flores here? Okay. There's a lot of good food, so maybe he's looking around, or maybe he's busy with the startups. We'll call on our next judge. We have Mr. Arnold Moralejo. He's the Director of Legal Investments and Government Relations, Cerebro Labs. He's Attorney Arnold C. Moralejo earned his Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of the Philippines, Diliman campus. Prior to joining Cerebro Labs, he worked in the legislative and executive branches of the Philippine government in various capacities as congressional staff in the House of Representatives